What up, challenge fans? We are Final Alliance Podcast. We just finished watching episode 8 of the challenge, season 38, titled Born to Ride or Die. Now, I say we, meaning myself and Jay. Jay is not feeling well, so it's just me by myself this week, but not entirely by myself. I do have a microphone for our producer.
Hey.
So if I get off the tracks, he's there to reel me back in. Obviously, hoping that Jay is feeling better and will be back with us next week. This episode starts following the win of Amber and Chauncey after they defeated Veronica and Darrell, which was so upsetting to me because I love Veronica and Darrell. It was a weird arena. I'm sorry, it's not an arena. It's a zone. We call it the arena for 2 seasons. Then we go ahead and change it to the zone. It's very difficult to keep straight. But anyway, I really wanted Veronica and Darrell to win. Unfortunately, they did not. But we did see more of Amber and Chauncey than we have seen all season in last week's episode. Amber right away says in an interview that she's sweet and spicy and everyone should watch out. I'm wondering at that point if that's going to mean some kind of foreshadowing about something that's going to happen later. But it doesn't really lead to much. But other than some stuff with Michelle that's kind of meh. But Amber and Michelle are celebrating together, very Big Brother style, where they're quietly like jumping up and down in a room by themselves. And, just Amber's, saying she has a angel on one side, a devil on the other. She's feeling a little bit vengeful. Nelly's going to get what's coming to him, she says. And that's pretty much what we have to start out the episode. Next day, we've got some working out. Really not a whole lot going on in regards to that, other than Olivia and Nelly. We see that Olivia says she's catching feelings for Nelly, and he gives her a kiss and a little butt smack, and it's cute. But I know typically when someone falls for Nelly in the challenge house, it's not always. Not always. It doesn't seem to ever really play out well for them. No offense to my guy Nelly, but I just was feeling like this was going to be a bad situation here, and we do see that later. We have Banana's 40th birthday party, so that means this was filmed on June 22nd because that's Banana's birthday. Looked it up. He always likes to talk about how he's a Gemini. They all sing him happy birthday. Then they do the pillow throw, which is a classic challenge moment, typically when a rookie was reading the clue from TJ. After that, everybody would throw pillows at them. So that was kind of a cute throwback moment. Nelly had made a card in regards to all of his stats, which I thought was nice, but I thought putting that all out there in front of everybody to literally read was putting an even larger target on him and Nani's back. Mariah gives him a kiss. So I guess showmance, if you want to call it, is more than I even thought that it was. So more on that when we talk about tea. Nelly we just have a whole bunch of conversations happening here at the beginning, just kind of bouncing around. And that's kind of really this episode, is a lot of people being paranoid, wondering what's going to happen next, because we have 2 sides of the house very clearly. We have the vets, and then we have rookies or new school vets. People, maybe it's only their like 2nd or 3rd season. So Nelly and Fessy are talking. Fessy's asking if Nelly has his back. Nelly's like, yeah, you should feel good if I win because I've never done wrong to you. Then we're reminded, of course, that Fessy had double-crossed him a couple of seasons ago by throwing him in right before the final in the hall brawl, where, remember, he played kind of dirty and was like, had his knee on his face and stuff. Not the coolest of gameplay. But Nelly says he's forgiven him. He's like, I don't forget, but I've forgiven him. And it's, there's bigger fish to fry. We get into the challenge. This is one of those challenges that is just fun to watch. This is like a Fast and the Furious, an action movie where, there are cars and they're jumping on them. This is the kind, as a fan, you watch and you're like, I want to do this. It's called Double Trouble. The male, and I don't know if it was specified it had to be the man or the woman, but in every case, the man was the one that jumped from the truck to the car. There are 5 cars. The woman is at the front car. Woman stays in that front car where there are 4 keys. She will have to, throughout the course of the challenge, go into the car, get a key, come up out through the window, onto the top of the car to hand a key to their partner. The male partner starts at the back car, jumps from car to car till he gets to his partner who has the key, gets it, turns around, hops back, Spider-Man style, puts it on some sort of a container on the car. You do this until you have all 4 keys, and then you pull a lever, and it's timed. Everyone is very excited to do this. TJ, of course, calls it sick, which it is. Olivia and Horacio go first. I'm thinking they're going to nail this just fine. They appear to be going really fast. And then we have Olivia in an interview saying sometimes Horacio gets a little bit, he cracks under pressure. And then you see him almost jump off one of the cars. And granted, they're harnessed, so he's not going to like fall onto the street, thank God. But he saves it. And then later he does kind of get off the car. He gets back on. He is able to complete it. But, obviously that's likely that slowed down their time. Then we go through Jay and Michelle. They nail it, go really fast. They did a really good job. They mention their stories and why they are there. Not only do they love to compete, but they both have in common someone very close to them in their family having something to do with their brain. So Michelle's brother had a traumatic brain injury, and Jay's mom has suffered from brain aneurysms his whole life. So she's always been sick. These are 2 things that are expensive. They're both family people. Michelle gets a little teary talking about it in their interview. And it's obviously bonded the 2 of them. Mariah and Fessel go. They seem to do it fast, lickety split, no big deal. Amber and Chauncey go. Didn't look like it was as fast, but it was good. Nellie and Nerese. Nellie is taken off looking great, and then he drops the 4th key. So they're disqualified. Kenny and Casey go. Exact same thing happens. Kenny drops the key. Now, poor Kenny, and I saw this on Twitter, he drops the key, and that is literally all that we see of him this episode. He didn't even get a confessional, which I'm just wondering, this guy seems like a really nice guy, but he is getting not exactly 0, but pretty much 0 screen time. So I'm wondering what that's about. Did he just stay under the radar so much that they didn't have anything to show? It makes me kind of sad for him. Also sad that he dropped the key. That's a blunder. Tori and Devin go. Devin gives us a phenomenal line talking about how this reminds him of an action movie. And he says, people regularly refer to me as a fat Tom Hardy, which, first of all, you're not fat, Devin. But the joke is hysterical, and I noticed the resemblance. I can't unsee it now. There is definitely some Tom Hardy-esque situation going there. So, fat Tom Hardy, Devin, that is definitely nominated for Line of the Week. Tori and Devin do fantastic. It looks like he's potentially he kind of like over jumps the car and is able to turn around and get the last key and pull the lever at the end. Nani and Bananas go. Very clean. They complete it. Horacio mentions that they make it look easy. To me, it didn't look as fast as like Jay and Michelle or even Fessy and Mariah, but that obviously could have been editing. Lastly, Jordan and Anissa go. And yeah, this is a challenge you look at and you're like, Jordan is going to own this, period. And if you don't think that, You're crazy. They kill it, even to the point they're showing TJ cheering Jordan on as they're going. Anissa stays calm and composed the entire time, just getting the key, very methodical about it. And there are 3 teams that had or the best times, which were Banani, Jay and Michelle, Jordan and Anissa. Jordan and Anissa take the W. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting, because now they have been voted in at least 2 times, maybe 3 times at this point. I know they've gone into 2 eliminations. That's hard to even remember at this point. Yes, they've at least gone in twice, because Jay and Michelle have voted them in twice. So, you know, for Jay and Michelle, they are going to be voted in. Obviously, that they are going to be one of the 4. Jordan has a great line. He says, looks over at Jay's face. He looks defeated, like someone stole his toy, knocked his ice cream out of his hand, and pops his balloon. Which, yeah, if I were Jay in that point, I would probably look that way as well. Because you know what's going to happen. And with the moves that they had made up to this point, there was no way that they were not going to be voted in if any of the vets won. Anissa mentions that she is not a vindictive person typically, but she is going to be a petty bitch in this situation in regards to voting in Michelle and Jay. Now, what I like about the deliberation, and there was a mention of their friendship and how how Anissa and Jordan have known each other for a decade and all that earlier. I just loved how easy this conversation was between the 2 of them. They're complimenting each other. Jordan says, "Good job. I'm proud of you." He says, "I'm proud of us." It was great. And they both already know who they're going to vote for. There are nothing surprising, because obviously they're communicating with each other on a regular basis. So Jay and Michelle are an obvious choice. They're going to throw it back at Nelly and Nerys because they put them in the week before. Horacio and Olivia are collateral damage. They don't want to vote them in. They both say that. They both love Horacio, but that's just the way it's going to have to be. And then they decide on Fessy and Mariah, just because Fessy and Mariah have not talked game with them at all. And they kind of want to see how that shakes out. They were thinking otherwise it could have been Chauncey and Amber, but I don't really know why they didn't pick Chauncey and Amber. I think realistically, Fessy and Mariah were stronger competitors. And they'd said something along the lines of, like, if we're going to play this game, let's go for it. Which I agree. I think at this point in the game, we're probably more than halfway. Taking out teams that you think that you can beat. Try to get the stronger teams out at this point, I feel like. They get into the interrogation, and I love that Jay and Michelle are in playful spirits. They're like, how did this happen? Joking, because they obviously know that they were going to be voted in because of what had happened in the past couple of weeks. Michelle does bring up, the game is going to change here soon. We could help you out later. Anissa acknowledges it. Jordan says we are going to listen to everybody and make a decision at the end. Olivia and Horacio talk. Same thing, they're collateral damage. We know that they're not the vote. Nelly and Nerys are in. And of course, the big question is, Nelly, if you pulled a safe, are you going to save Olivia or Fessy? And he doesn't know. And Nerys says, that's hard for me too, because the 2 closest people to me in the house right now are Mariah and Olivia. So both of them, it will not be an easy decision. Fessy and Mariah's conversation, they're just in the middle of the game. It really, nothing was accomplished in that conversation in the interrogation. But then Fessy is talking to Nelly, and he's like, well, now I don't have to worry about if I have to say her name now. Now no more hugs and tears or whatever. I can say Anissa's name now, which, okay. I mean, I do get that point, but I don't know how necessary it was to get offended by it, but I suppose you're always going to be offended when you get voted in. When the teams are listed earlier, who the teams that were going to be potentially going in, Amber goes to give Michelle a hug. And Michelle says something like, "Why are you acting so shocked?" And I think the tone shocked Amber and made her uncomfortable. And then Amber got into her feelings about it. She was hurt because her and Michelle have gotten very close. They're roommates. And she's talking to Chauncey about, I don't know. It was kind of unnecessary, but I guess such is the game. There's a party night. They are flirting with the idea that Jordan and Nerys are going to potentially hook up. Nerys had earlier said that Jordan looks attractive when he was doing the challenge. Seems pretty PG. They're dancing. No big deal. Michelle and Amber make up. So no big deal. No harm, no foul. Why it was necessary to show, I don't understand at this point, because I feel like there probably could have been other things that they talked about. Maybe they're just trying to give Amber some more screen time, or Michelle. I don't know. Anissa and Fessy. This is funny because Fessy had just said, I don't want Anissa to come up to me and do the hugs and the I love yous because she voted me in. They get to the bar night and she goes up to Fessy and is giving him the hugs and the I love yous. And he looks right into the camera over her shoulder and gives kind of a Jim Halpert like face. And which kind of annoyed me, but I'm like, this is interesting. So he's trying this out where we're, breaking the fourth wall. And it was cute because Anissa's like, I love you. He makes the face and she's like, even if you're making a face, I don't care, which was cute. We get into the zone. Before that, we see Jordan's strange hat scarf situation that he wore for another one of the zones when he was watching. So I'm not sure what that look is or what the reasoning is.
You look like my grandma with the cowboy hat on.
Yeah, I know he's from Oklahoma. So I don't know, like the cowboy hat makes sense. I don't understand the scarf with it. When I'd listen to Love War Challenges, because I like to listen to that podcast from time to time as well. Check him out if you haven't already. Malik had said, he just knows that he's going to get camera time if he wears a crazy outfit. Could be a point, but I feel like there might be more to it than that. So if you guys know, or Jordan, if you want to just reach out, what that outfit's about, I'd love to hear it. Jay and Michelle are voted into the zone. No surprise. Then it comes to the draw. First, Olivia and Horacio poll. Nothing on it. So they're still potentially going in. Then, Fessy and Mariah poll. Nothing on it. So that means Nelly and Nerys are safe and they have to decide who they're saving. And you would have thought that they got voted in from their expressions. I mean, specifically Nelly was very upset because he knew he had to make this decision. And it's the big choice. Do I save my friend who I've known for several years, that, we are friends in real life, even though he screwed me over in the game? And it would be good TV if I didn't save my friend. Or do I save my new girlfriend, who I really haven't known that long, but I do like her? And he thinks about it, goes to a commercial break, and he saves Fessy. That's not what I would do. But I have to wonder if he was thinking the likelihood of Fessy and Mariah winning and then coming back into the house was higher than them going home. So it would be in his interest to save that relationship, because if he voted him in, then Fessy would not help him out later. I don't know. Still a little not so great that he put his girlfriend in. I'm sure my buddy Jay would love to say Horacio looked amazing this episode the entire time, even in the zone. Good looking guy, sweet guy. He even called, like he said, when Olivia was being asked before the zone about how she felt about Nellie beating, voting her in, he called him a jerk. He's like, that was a jerky move or something like that, which I just thought was cute. Horacio can do basically anything, and it's adorable at this point. It's called Spun Out. The female is on the inside of this large wheel. On the other side, the male it's kind of like a hamster wheel situation. And then there's pyramids that you have to move from one spot to another. And there are 3 pegs. You've got to move it from the farthest peg to the closest one from the beginning. And I've seen different versions of this on finals where you can't move them all like at once. You've got to kind of go in between. I don't know. It was hard to know who was in the lead. I don't know if this is an elimination that I liked. What I did see from it was the majority of the house is rooting for Horacio and Olivia. And they're realizing that the louder that they are yelling, because communication is key in this game, because the woman needs to tell the man when to stop because they can't see where the pyramid pieces are. The louder they are cheering for Horacio and Olivia, the less that Jay and Michelle can hear. Devin does mention that it is to his benefit for Jay and Michelle to win. Pardon me, because they win and he could potentially work with them later. Unfortunately, that does not work out. Olivia and Horacio win, which I'm thrilled about because they're some of the best rookies we've had in a really long time. They are very likable. They are bringing entertainment to the game, and I am excited to see what happens with them both. Jordan has another good line where he says, Michelle and Jay, write this down. This is not Survivor. Jay and Michelle were upset in regards to everyone making a lot of noise during the zone. Is that fair? Is it not fair? In the challenge, that's kind of always allowed. So in the challenge, I think that's fair, in my opinion. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. So now we have 8 teams left. My buddy TJ says it's going to be a surprise at the next challenge. Says something about a halfway point. But to me, with 8 teams left, I don't understand how that would be a halfway point. IMDb is still saying there's only 10 episodes. But I've seen episode intros listed on Reddit where they have an episode 11. And that's not the final. So I'm curious to see how many episodes we're going to end up with. It looks like we're going to be finishing past Christmas at this point. So we will see about that. Now, our categories. What would Corey do? I have right away. Corey would not have stood for saving Fessy. Corey would have been in Nellie's ear saying, can you believe what he did to you before? You do not save him in this situation. Best line, I think, has to be Devin saying he is referred to as Fat Tom Hardy. Gotta love it. That is a very clever line, as always, Devin. Who won the episode? Now, this is just one of those episodes that, there were things that happened, and there was an elimination that we were looking forward to, in that being Michelle and Jay going home because of the quote-unquote blood that they had on their hands from past winning. But I don't know if there's a huge win in this. Maybe Jordan and Anissa. Can you think of anybody that stood out?
Not off the top of my head.
It's just kind of I mean, I don't know. I think I might give this episode like a C. It just kind of, it's there. There were some good things, but it's not one that I'm going to look back in a couple weeks and be like, that episode, that was the one. Although it was a good challenge. And it was an interesting-ish elimination. Who lost the episode? I think I'm going to go with Nellie just because I thought it was really a strange decision in saving Fessy. And I think that might potentially come back and bite him later. And he also dropped his key. So he DQ'd in the challenge. Cringe-worthy moments. All the stuff with Amber and Michelle, it was just a bit much. And I love that they're like, look, we're both emotional people, and that's how we play this game, and that's why we're friends, and that's great. I'm an emotional person too. But as far as watching this episode, it was probably the most cringy of the moments we have had. I'm sure Jay would have better answers of what was cringy, but that's what I have. So that's the episode. I have quite a bit of tea this week, and I will walk you through it. We have good news. Kahada, who we love, sweetest man, he is engaged to his longtime girlfriend, Caitlin. So congratulations, Kahada. The Global Championship just finished filming. They filmed in South Africa. Just finished filming in the last few days. Saw something from TJ, how he was leaving and, had a great time. There are lots of spoilers out there, so beware if you do not want to be spoiled. I've unfortunately had a couple things spoiled, but I don't know who won, and I'm trying to keep it that way, so fingers crossed for that. The biggest thing this week. Oh, one more before I get into the big T. Kim, remember he was part of our German pair, him and Colleen. He was cast in season 2 of Rings of Power. That's a show I believe I think it's on Prime.
Yep.
Is that a Lord of the Rings show?
Yeah, I think it's like a prequel or something.
So I mean, he's kind of got that like Orlando Bloom Lord of the Rings vibe going with the long blonde hair, right? So maybe he's going to be an elf. I don't know, but congratulations to him. That's really freaking cool. So it's just crazy, these people that like Kim we just met, and the diversity of their careers. So heck yeah, congrats, Kim. Now, okay, I don't love talking about Polly, but we're just going to do it, and I guess that's just what it is. Mariah had a post maybe on Saturday. Working out, she was wearing some leggings at the gym, showing off her awesome figure that she works really hard at the gym, specifically showing off her butt. Looked great. She just said something like, oh, I'm full from Thanksgiving still. Polly goes ahead and screenshots that and goes to Twitter and says, and I'm going to pull it up on my phone because it's a bit much. I can't help but see this and wonder how, you know what? I'm not going to read it because it's gross. He insinuates something in regards to her body and in regards to how her and Bananas have potentially been together and the size or lack of size of his junk. This is some middle school stuff. And what I really don't particularly care for is Mariah has nothing to do with your beef with Bananas. She just had a post of like, I'm feeling good. I'm getting my swole on at the gym. And so to have this guy who I don't know if they even know each other or not, maybe they do, and maybe it was a joke, but it doesn't seem like it. To have him then say something in regards to her body, in regards to Bananas and their beef, is yucky. Did not like it. Then he made the right choice a couple hours later, deletes the post, and then has kind of a non-apology tweet about how he's learning and growing, and he didn't think people were going to take it that way. And it's kind of a cop-out, which I didn't care for. I did like then later, though, there are several challenged women that do go after him, which I thought was kind of funny. Because, you know what? Yeah, like, I think the women do have to, stand by each other because of these kind of comments. And, Laurel said something about Paulie was a dies in eliminations dunce. Angela said something along the lines of, nurse, he's out again. And a couple other people. Georgia said something about how he's not relevant. Why is he even talking? So I appreciated that. But yeah, it's just not a good look, Paulie, Corey and Bananas were just at a red carpet event last night. And it's so funny because Jay and I have been doing this, what would Corey do, this season, because Bananas is there. As you guys know, we typically do one of our categories being what would Bananas do? But because Bananas is on this season, we're doing what would Corey do, because he's not on. So it was cute to see the two of them together on the red carpet. And Corey, oh, I love it. It was so good. Goes ahead and asks him what he thinks about these comments. He's like, I'm dying to know. What do you think about these comments that Paulie has said? Which I love that, because it's exactly what I thought that he would do. Kind of like stir in the pot just to be a little stinker in a cute way. And Bananas handles it well. He goes, who? And then they laugh and they move on. So love that. They went and saw, it was the red carpet for the movie Violent Night. Don't know anything about that. Maybe we'll check it out. I don't know. And that's really all I have this week. I think I went at about a mile a minute with how quickly I was speaking. So I'm sorry if you need to slow me down on the replay. Thanks for putting up with me without Jay. Hopefully he'll be back next week so we get to hear his opinions on all things challenge. Do you have anything else for me?
No, I think you're good.
All right. Follow us on Twitter, Final Alliance 1, Instagram, Final Alliance, on YouTube. We're Final Alliance Podcast. Please comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Please be nice to me this week, though, because I was by myself. And on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. We are Final Alliance Podcast.